Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And I have a special guest with me here on the State of the Saints podcast from CBS Sports. And also, you may know him from his podcast along with All Pro Patrick Peterson, All Things Covered podcast. They're killing the game right now. My guest, Bryant McFadden. B Mac, what's going on, man?
Man, appreciate you having me. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, man, y'all killing the podcast game right now, man. I just want to let you know that.
Hey,
y'all
I
have
appreciate you.
amazing guests, man. Amazing guests, man.
I appreciate you, showing us some love. And, anytime I'm able to jump on with you, you already know it's all love. I love talking ball anyway. So, what I mean? It's always love rocking with you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Just want to talk to you a little bit about the New Orleans Saints, man. The New Orleans Saints, they had a big game this past weekend versus the Green Bay Packers, and they shocked a lot of people, man. They systematically destroyed the Green Bay Packers in week 1, 38-3. B-Mac, I mean, were you surprised at the outcome of this game? I mean, were you shocked that the Saints even won this game?
I definitely was surprised how lopsided the game was in favor of the Saints. I think the line betting wise was 3.5. The Saints were getting 3.5. And in all honesty, based on everything that was returning for the Green Bay Packers, the consensus felt like Green Bay would win this ball game. Regardless if it would have been closed or whatever the case may be, you got the reigning MVP returning with all his toys. Defensively made a few adjustments, and everything felt like that would be their game. Not to mention the adversity the Saints had to deal with, practicing in Dallas, having to move the home opener from New Orleans to Jacksonville. But hey, man, Coach Sean Payton just showed what type of coach he is.
Yeah.
When you got a guy like that who's so strategic, schematically speaking, he's always on his A game, and you give him a talented player at the quarterback position like Jameis, everything just flows. Yeah. You can tell the Saints were well prepared for this ball game. So I think the sky is the limit for New Orleans.
Yeah, I was shocked that they won in that fashion. I mean, look, any team can beat any team on any given Sunday. I mean, you can't underestimate any team. But the fact is, I mean, the last time we seen the Green Bay Packers, they were in the NFC Championship game, B-Mac. I mean, they were one game away from the Super Bowl. And for them to come out there like that, it was a little bit of a shock. But, I mean, are you buying, like, the whole fact about, the Aaron Rodgers situation? Nobody really knew if he was going to come back. Was he, going to retire? Do you think that played a role in how the Green Bay Packers came out there? Or do you just think that it was just the New Orleans Saints being a little bit more prepared than they were?
Yeah, I think it had nothing to do with what we saw. He was there the entire training camp. It wasn't like he had a late start. It wasn't like he got there right before the start of the season. He was working out with the guys. I actually visited their training camp when they had joint practices against the New York Jets, and they look good. The offense looked good. I think it was more so they just overlooked and was sleeping on the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. I think so. I think, understanding and knowing what they were going through, the adversity with the hurricane. Right. I'm not saying they didn't take them seriously, but they didn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm kind of that's my thought process. For them to come out flat, to come out like just showing up meant they would win the ball game is kind of, I feel like that was their mindset. Yeah. And like you said, any given Sunday, anything can happen. You can never overlook someone. You can't. You know what I mean? And that's just in life in general. Never overlook your opponent. Never overlook someone who's competing against you, because you don't want to give them an opportunity to have a step ahead of you. And that's what we saw Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of team skepticism when they look at the Saints this season. I mean, look no further than the quarterback position. I mean, Drew Brees retires after 15 seasons with the Saints. And then comes Jameis Winston. Everybody's talking about, the 30 for 30 in 2019. You had the opportunity to talk to him in the offseason. Did you, by talking to him, I mean, it was a really good conversation, and I encourage everybody to check that out on your podcast, All Things Covered. But judging on what you talked about with him, did you see this kind of coming, him coming out week 1? I mean, and starting off with 5 touchdown passes and being as efficient as he was?
I didn't see 5 touchdown passes, but I felt like James will have a real good year. The one thing that I took away from our conversation was the maturity. that he has displayed, that he's grown, you know what I mean? And just the humility he was displaying to me as well. And just so appreciative of this moment of being in the National Football League, having an opportunity, because at that time he wasn't a starting quarterback.
Right.
So having the opportunity to compete to be a starting quarterback in this league again was something that he would not take for granted. Right. So I felt like, because the thing about Jameis, they can say that 30 for 30 and all that. The man is talented.
Yeah.
Anytime you win the Heisman as a freshman in college, win a national championship as a freshman, and then you get drafted first overall, you have talent. Right. You know what I mean? You just have to have the proper structure around you to be able to show what talent you have on a consistent basis. And the NFL is all about situations.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could be a talented player, but go in the wrong situation, you would never flourish. You would never be the player that you're supposed to be. Right. You know what I mean? And things didn't work out in Tampa for whatever the case may be, but this was the best position for him to be in. Right. Sit and learn. Last year was a blessing for him. Yeah. Even when Drew was injured, he sat and he learned. He never second-guessed the decision to go at Taysom Hill. That was the coach decision. He supported Taysom. You know what I mean? He just made sure he was ready. Remember that playoff game, I think it was against Chicago. Didn't really play a lot. They throw him in there, throw the flea flicker, bam! Right. Took advantage of the opportunity. The one play was a huge play. Right. So what I took from that conversation was, man, he gonna light it up when he get a chance to. Also, he got the LASIK surgery. He can see now. You know what I'm saying? He can see now. He ain't no more squinting with the helmet on and all that. That's the unique thing about it. People are really overlooking that. Just imagine trying to go out there and play yard football with the kids, and you got to close your eyes and squeak and see if you can hit an out route. Better yet, doing that against grown professionals who get paid top dollar. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what we saw from James was smart play, efficient play, but we saw dimes. Like that deep touchdown that he threw to what's number 11 name?
Deontay Harris.
Harris?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a dime. I looked at that a couple of times, B-Man.
man, listen. Yeah. That was incredible. So I'm excited for James, man. I can't wait to see what he has for his encore performance. Not just him, but the entire team, but going forward, because people were sleeping on the Saints, but they woke him up real quick.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just think that Sean Payton is very underrated as a coach. You know, I think
agree.
All those years with Drew Brees, I think sometimes, you know, people look at Drew Brees' greatness and they forget about Sean Payton greatness as a play caller and as a coach. And I just think with Jameis Winston, I think people are really going to start to see and realize how good of a coach Sean Payton is. But he's off to a great start with Jameis Winston as the quarterback. But you look at the Saints defensively. I mean, they really played well in this game. I mean, how many times can you say that Aaron Rodgers was left without a touchdown? I mean, also with 2 interceptions. But it had a lot to do with the secondary. And one player in the secondary, he just got a contract extension. Marshon Lattimore got a 5-year extension. His signing bonus makes him the highest paid cornerback at his position. Congratulations to him. But B-Mac, I mean, you played cornerback. You know how tough it is to play in this league. What makes Marshon Lattimore one of those top-tier cornerbacks that we watch on Sundays?
He's tough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything for him is personal. He's not a guy who believes in making friends on the football field. He want to create enemies. I love that about him. You know what I mean? He plays that attitude. Not to mention, he's just a talented guy. He's a number 1 corner. Right. You know what I mean? And in that division in the NFC South, you better have a number 1 corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Julio's no longer there, but they still got a good one in Calvin Ridley, one of the best route runners in the game. Yeah. And we all know what Tampa has, you know what I'm saying? And then you look at Carolina with DJ and Roby. You better have a number 1, a proven number 1. And that's something that's who he is as a player. And I just love the toughness. He fits. The way he plays the game of football is the way Sean Payton calls the game of football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That attitude. Like, you know, I don't care nothing about you. You don't like me, I don't like you, and that's what it is. So, you know, I hope he's okay. I heard he got a little banged up from Sunday, but clearly deserving of the contract.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's getting thumb surgery. Had a little chip of a bone in his thumb. He's week to week as of right now. But, I mean, I've watched him like since he, you know, even when he was at Ohio State, I mean, he was really good. He had some injuries, but since he's been in the league, man, he's been a really good, solid corner. I mean, looking at watching the Saints as long as I have, I have to say he's the best cornerback I've ever seen the Saints have, as far as like, shutting down the field. Like, I'm serious. Like, I mean, just growing up watching Saints football. I mean, they had some good ones.
Mike McKenzie was pretty good.
Yeah, Mike McKenzie was good.
Yeah, Mike McKenzie.
Yeah, Mike McKenzie was definitely, a solid corner. I mean, but I just look at like as far as like from being drafted by the team, and just developing as a player, I have to put him in that category, man. I just never seen the Saints actually have a cornerback that can just shut down like a primary receiver. It's always, probably cover two, somebody got to help him out. But it's never like somebody just one-on-one, mano a mano. I just never seen that. But he definitely deserves his bread. But let's go ahead and talk about the NFC South. I mean, we seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Cowboys. That was a good game. The Atlanta Falcons, they look good in the first quarter as far as running the football, but they still got some issues. Carolina, I mean, they did some good things. Sam Darnold looked pretty decent. How do you see this NFC South picture shaping up? I mean, based on what you've seen from these teams this past weekend.
I mean, I think everybody's chasing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. They the champs. Everything returned for them. They got away with one past Thursday night against the Cowboys. But still, the talent is there. But the best way to have success against Tom Brady, you got to put pressure on him, and you got to make plays. You got to make plays. You can't leave any plays on the football field because they can come back to haunt you. Right. That was a deciding factor for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? So outside of Tampa, I think the Saints are the second best team. I felt that way before I even seen one game. Yeah. I think the week 1 win against the Packers solidified my opinion with them being the second best team. And, I think Atlanta is the bottom dweller of the conference, the division. I think they still got a ways to go. Right. Carolina, if they healthy, that can be the sparring partner that you might not want to see in a match. They might dot that eye a little bit. If you ain't careful, you be laying on the canvas. Because, they got a proven superstar in Christian McCaffrey, and I think their defense is much, much improved. Right. They got some young guns on that defense can go. But it's the Buccaneers division, and everybody else is chasing Tampa Bay right now. But I definitely was encouraged from what I saw from the Saints. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they got a good, solid football team. And you have to admit, I mean, bringing back all their starters, I mean, that's unheard of coming off a Super Bowl. Like that's huge, not losing anybody. And I just think that, they are the team to beat. I mean, they are the world champions. Got to put you on the spot, B-Mac. Do you see the Buccaneers repeating, a spot in the Super Bowl or even winning a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I do. If I had to put my money on a team to get there, I think so, because they got the best leader in sports in Tom Brady. And he got some toys offensively. He got some toys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he still can throw it. Can throw it. So, I'm not saying that there's not any other team that has a shot, but if I had to pick a team right now, I pick Tampa. And I think their defense, my concern with their defense is the secondary. That's my concern. I'm surprised they didn't really go out and try to make an addition, add another veteran presence in the secondary, because we saw some issues this past Thursday. But before the season even kicked off, I had concerns because on the defensive line, they got it. Right. They got it. Vita Vea is a Pro Bowler, one of the best nose guards in the game.
Yeah, he looked good.
Linebacks with the rushers, JPP and Shaq Barrett, Levante, Devin White, they got it. Yeah. But the concerns are in the secondary. Right. And the Cowboys exploited some of those issues in the secondary because they had the players to do so. They just abandoned the run. Like, we know y'all guys are good at stopping the run, but we can go ahead and throw it. Yeah. But that's the issue. There's not a lot of offenses that have 3 guys that can catch it and go. Yeah. Like the Cowboys. Yeah, you know what I mean? True. So that's what it's going to take, because you running the football against Tampa. Well, good luck in trying to do that.
Yeah. I mean, look, they have a really good stout, guys up front, with Sue and Vea, and like I said, they got some pass rushers in Barrett and JPP. So, I mean, like, their secondary, but you just mentioned it. Like, is it fair to say that they really just have some issues? I mean, that's hard. That's a hard matchup for anybody. You got Gallup, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, so it seems like that's going to be a tough matchup, no matter if you have some solid members of the secondary or not, right?
And that You know what I mean? That can play football. They just had a great game plan. They and one thing we know about Todd Bowles, he gonna try to send pressure.
Right.
They were not allowing him to get that pressure going based on the quick intermediate passes. So Kellen Moore had a real good game plan prepared for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but granted, it still came up a bit short.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you're the Super Bowl champions, you're going to get everybody's best shot, no matter if they're the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. Everybody's going to look at you as a measuring stick. So, I mean, that was a tough game they played in week 1, and I just feel like, they're going to be battle-tested by the time the postseason comes. I also want to ask you about Bradley Roby. The Saints made a trade for Bradley Roby to be the possible number 2 corner opposite of Marshon Lattimore. The Saints been missing that number 2 corner for quite some time. I mean, they tried to, get a few players. They had Eli Apple 1 year, Janoris Jenkins last year. They couldn't keep his contract, so they decided to, let him go. Do you think Bradley Roby can be a solid number 2 for the New Orleans Saints?
Oh, no question. No question. Now, I know he didn't play this past weekend, but he should be ready to go this Sunday against Carolina. But, I like adding him to the forefront because the team you're chasing got 3 for sure pass catchers in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is all about making a move for Tampa in your division, in the NFC. For you to get into the playoffs, you got to be relevant in your division. Right. Number 1. So for you, people didn't talk about this move as much and why. Yeah. And you hit on some of the key components. They've been looking for number 2 for quite some time. Yeah. But the team you're chasing got 3 guys who can all be number 1s.
Right. True.
With Tom Brady throwing him the ball, and they got Gronkowski, who's back to being him his old self.
Yep.
So I love this move because this is all about Tampa. This move was solely about the Buccaneers in our division. Because if we're trying to have any playoff aspirations, we got to be relevant in our division. And the only way you be relevant in that division, you better have 2 corners that can play ball.
Yeah.
And that have shown the ability to play ball. So this move, I love Sean Payton and the organization and going out and make this move. And you were still able to show up, pay your number 1 guy. And now you look at that secondary now is one of the strong points of the defense. But this move is all about Tampa, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep up with Tampa. I mean, you look at AB. I mean, AB back to form. They caught him in the middle of the season. But I mean, the way he played on Thursday night of last week, I mean, he looked like his old self. So, I mean, he's already a number. I mean, all these guys can be number 1 corners on anybody's team right now. So you're basically going up against 3 number 1 corners, a number 1 tight end. And if OJ Howard, gets back into the groove of things, I mean, that he's a threat. So, I mean, you definitely got to have some guys that can go out there that can cover. And I just think that it was a good move. The Saints did a really good job, trying to make this trade. And it also just tells you, B-Mac, the Saints aren't just trying to rebuild here. They're trying to go for it once again, right? I mean, looking at a move like this doesn't say, okay, we're trying to rebuild. This says that we're trying to win. And, the standard hasn't changed, even though number 9 is no longer here. But B-Mac, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. But I would be remiss, my friend.
What you got?
If you didn't answer this question. Man, what happened last Saturday to your Florida State Seminoles, man? What happened, man?
That's what you would do to me?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. What happened, man?
Boy, it's tough times right now. It is tough times. It's tough in Tallahassee right now. Jacksonville State, man, no disrespect to Jacksonville State, but let's keep it real. You should never be in a dogfight with Jacksonville State. Just I don't care if you didn't even practice. You should go out and still be able to take care of your business based on the athletes that we believe we have.
Right.
And you were in a dogfight and you allow them to gain confidence. That's why they say all the time, Mike Tomlin used to tell us all the time, man, take them out in deep water and drown them in the first quarter. Don't even allow them to believe they can play with us.
Right.
Take them out in deep water and just drown them. Get it over with. Because you allow them to surface, you allow that product to surface. They believe that we can play with these people, and they played with us and they beat us.
Right.
It's tough right now. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know what to hope for next. We got Wake Forest this upcoming week at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a silver lining in this season.
Yeah.
But the only silver lining that I see, you win every ball game from here on out.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
got
look,
to.
I
That's
just
that.
think, yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
Go
What'd you
ahead.
say? No, you go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, that's the only way where you won't really look at this loss as it is a embarrassing loss. But if you win every game from here on out, that means you beat who you got next: Wake Forest, you beat Clemson, you beat Miami, you beat Florida,
Right.
NC State, whoever is left. Because you got to think about it, they have 2 losses, but they're not in conference. Wasn't
Right.
ACC, so there
Right.
could be a silver lining.
Right.
I don't know how it can happen. You know what I mean? But it could happen, right?
Yeah.
That could be
I'm,
the only silver line that we look back and you come back and say, man, B-Mac, you said it.
yeah. Yeah, I just look at Florida State. I mean, you all have been like on top, like for I don't know how long. I mean, growing up as a kid, I mean, Florida State was it. You know what I mean? Like that was the starter jacket to get. You know what I'm saying? That was
Mm-hmm.
the hat to get down in New Orleans. When Bobby Bowden was there, and like I said, every team fall on hard times and whatever like that. But I mean, eventually, I just feel like you all are going to get back on top. I mean, you always going to be one of the top football programs in college football, and it's always going to be a great landing spot for anybody to get an opportunity. So, I wish you all the best, man. I'm sorry y'all had to, go through that, but I mean, I know about some bad times. I mean, I went to Jackson State, so we just finally started to get back to form
Yeah.
with Coach
Yeah.
Prime there. So,
Yeah, I just had that Heritage Classic, right? Y'all took care of business against
yeah, man.
Tennessee.
Hey,
Tennessee
we
State.
had to. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that, man. We've been down for a minute, man. It's been some dark days in Jackson, Mississippi, B-Mac. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good to get some wins and be undefeated for right now.
No
but
question.
but B-Mac, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. And let everybody know about your podcast, All Things Covered, and other ventures you have coming up, man.
Man, yeah, check me out, man, with my cousin Patrick Peterson. Name of my podcast is All Things Covered on the CBS Sports platform. You can find us anywhere where podcasts are located. We also have a YouTube channel. Just visit youtube.com/all things covered. You see us there. We're dropping a big time episode this week. Just did an interview with Anquan Bolden, former Arizona Cardinals, Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens, and former Florida State Seminole.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talking ball week in and week out, man. Make sure you tune in. If you like what you hear or what you see, leave us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, man, he underestimating himself, man. He had Ice Cube, man. This man was talking to Ice Cube, man. I mean, I was like, man, y'all
Cube,
killing it over there, man.
I appreciate it.
Y'all killing it over there, man. Y'all do an outstanding job, man. Good luck to you. On CBS Sports and also All Things Covered. Y'all make sure that y'all check it out. You will not be disappointed.
I appreciate it.
B-Mac, Bryant McFadden, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast, my friend.